Have you ever feel like you're losing sense of where you are or your body? You're losing control of your body. You just completely feeling lost of yourself or your body, and extremely anxious. Welcome back. Today want to talk about panic attacks and what are the symptoms and the causes of this, and I'll give you some tips as well how to cope with these panic attacks. Welcome back. My name is Salva Pietra. I am a child and adolescent psychotherapist. I see children, adults and adolescents, and I have supported lots of clients with panic attacks, and I have supported children and adolescents and adults with panic attacks. Panic attacks is a very common condition, and I tend to have lots of clients about this condition. So what are panic attacks? Panic attacks are a sudden, abrupt surge of fear or discomfort that increases within minutes. So let's say you start feeling this discomfort, and then suddenly become increased very rapidly to the point that you just don't know where you are, or you lost, or you just lose control of your body because you're shaking, or you're extremely feeling anxious, or you're just feeling like you're almost like daydreaming, but quite extreme. And then it can become a chaos, to the point that you just lose control of your mind, your body, and everything around you. It can happen when the panic attacks happens. It can happen at any time. Let's say when you're in a calm state, or let's say you're sleeping and suddenly you wake up with a panic attack, or you were doing something, you were calm at home, and then suddenly you're just having these panic attacks. Or it can happen also after an anxiety, after you've been anxious for a while, and that's the end of the body response. It could be the panic attack. So it can happen in two conditions: when you're calm or when you're extremely anxious, and then the panic attack appears. It can cause chaos, as I said before, to the point that you just lose control of your body completely. And I have heard lots of patients, lots of clients, they usually could not continue working, or they had to sit down somewhere, or some of them faint. You lose control of your body and your mind completely. So what are the symptoms of panic attacks? Panic attacks can present, and it's very common when you have palpitations. You start feeling that your heart starts palpitating very fast. And that's a very common symptoms that I have seen as well. Sweating, you feel that your body is sweating, your hands, your body, you feel hot, you start sweating a lot. Very common as well when you have anxiety, but this is more extreme. You cannot control that. You might also feel like you cannot breathe. You find very difficult to breathe. It's you have to really exhale and it gets really, really difficult. It feels quite heavy to breathe. You feel like something stuck in your throat, that you cannot, almost like you had something there that you cannot let it out. Chest pain, you might have chest pain, and it's very common as well, but also it can be confused with other conditions of the heart. But it's very common. You might feel like sharp pains in your chest, and for a long time. You might feel stomach aches. Very common in children and young people to feel stomach aches and feeling sick. This feeling of they might going to vomit. Very common as well in children. I have seen lots of children with this symptom. Especially when they come at night, or before they go to school, they might feel they're going to vomit. Some kids they do, but there's this constant feeling that I'm going to vomit. You might feel dizzy and almost like fainting, to the point that you actually might faint. Heat, that you heat, you hot, you warm, that you know, it's a kind of like almost like you could be in a very cold space, but then you feel really, really warm, really hot. Numbness, feeling numb in some areas of the body, could be the arms, the legs, very common the arms. But again, these symptoms can be confused with heart conditions. That's important to remember. This personalization that you just floating in, you're just not really conscious of where you are, or if you are traveling, it feels like you are somewhere like daydreaming, but this is quite more extreme. You completely you don't have control of your mind. It feels like you are out of your body. And also the constant fear of losing control of your body, losing control of your mind, and that you're going crazy. And there is also another symptoms of the fear of dying, because you're feeling this extreme reaction, this extreme conditions that you lose control, then you might be fearing that you are going to die. Panic attacks usually happens because there is a trigger that has caused a panic attack. So let's say you experience you've been in an accident, and the car you've been into a crash, and then suddenly you see a crash on the road, and that kind of triggers it makes you anxious and can trigger your panic attacks because of that traumatic memory that you had in the past. Other panic attacks may not necessarily need a trigger, and it's because they might be something that you don't know, something that has happened in the past, or something that you might have experienced as a child and you don't remember. So we talk about the symptoms, we talk about when it can happen. To remember, it can happen when you're calm, it can happen when you are in an anxious state, it can happen as well because of a trigger. Some panic attacks might not have a trigger, and that's something to be aware of. The causes of the panic attacks could be genetics. If it happens in your family, it's very probable that you might experience panic attacks. So if someone in your family has experienced panic attacks, it's probable that you also going to experience panic attacks. However, you have to remember that this is not something that is a fact. We need to be exposed to certain conditions or environments where triggers these genes to have a panic attacks. If you have a peaceful life and environment where you're nurtured and you don't have a stress, and these genes are not going to be activated. Brain chemistry, there might be also imbalances in hormones, especially serotonin. And that is very common as well during menopause, because remember, there are imbalances in the hormones, and those imbalances can cause chaos in the body, and therefore it's gonna start causing panic attacks. It's very common in menopause. Brain structure, and also overthinking or some kind of biological damage to the amygdala. Remember, the amygdala is involved in regulating emotions, and if something is going on with the amygdala, that part of the brain that's just behind, if something is going on there and you're not aware of, it might cause panic attacks, because it means that the body is not working as it should be. Neural conditions like thyroid disorders, very common as well, because your thyroid starts to function not as it should be, and again it's a hormonal imbalances, and then you might have this as a result of the thyroid dysfunction. Heart conditions, very common as well. If you have a heart condition where your heart starts to palpitate fast, then you might have a panic attack, and please do consult a doctor for this. And respiratory conditions as well is another topic that we need to be aware of, especially asthma. It can cause panic attacks. Common causes of panic attacks I have seen in my therapy room are trauma, very common, and that's because there are triggers that is causing these panic attacks and you are not aware of. Overthinking, if you have some kind of event where you start to overthink about things, or how this happened and why this happened, it might cause a panic attack. Stress, a big one. Stress, there are lots of illnesses related to stress, and it's a big one also that can also cause panic attacks. And substances, the use of alcohol, drugs also can cause this condition. How do you cope with these panic attacks? First, you need to go to the doctor, check out if there is nothing going on in your mind, if there is no imbalances in your hormones, if there is nothing going on in your brain. So you're going to have to consult your doctor first to see if everything is okay in your brain. You also need to find someone who can help you with this, how to learn to manage your anxiety, so you can stop the panic attacks when it starts. And the best people are psychotherapists. I have helped lots of clients with this, and usually the outcome is really good. They learn to manage the panic attacks, and they learn what the triggers are that is causing these panic attacks. So you need a professional, you need a psychotherapist to help you with this. So we talk about the doctor, the biological structure in your brain, psychotherapist to see if there is what the triggers, what the trauma, what's behind it. And also I would recommend do lots of meditation. If you can, do yoga, try to connect with nature a lot, and take out the stress. Stress is the number one of panic attacks. Talk to friends. Very good if you're overthinking about something. Talk to people, share, externalize your problems. I will be talking about this during this week, and hopefully please check out my Instagram. There will be lots of information about this, and I'm happy to answer any questions. All the best, and I hope this helps. If you need support, I'm happy to answer. You have my phone number, you have my email. Do contact me if you need support. All the best.